Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Albany. And yeah, for today's video I will be talking about amazing books that I would like to read. So yeah, this isn't really like a TBR. It's just like books that I haven't had a chance to put on my TBR, but I really want to read them because they sound freaking amazing. Like, I've heard reading reviews on YouTube about these books. These books specifically, I think I've heard like on YouTube that I really want to read. So let's get into the list. I'm gonna try to keep it not too long, but give you a good sense of kind of things that I would like to read, you know? And then you can leave comments of things that you think that maybe should be, that are amazing, that maybe should be on my list. So the first book is Red Sister by Mark Lawrence. It just sounds like it's a great fantasy book. Female characters and they're assassins, they're trained killers, a school setting, interesting, I hear, world building. People who on booktube have been super excited. It has had great reviews. Is a magic system, characters are great. Sounds like it's a great book that I could possibly dive into. So yeah, I want to try Red Sister, and then of course read the rest of the series. The next book that I really want to read is The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkins Reid. It just sounds like a very intriguing story. Like, I just envision it as like this 50s movie of like this Marilyn Monroe character, and I like Marilyn Monroe, but it just intrigues me. I just want to kind of hear the story and see what everybody is raving about. So can't wait to transport into the 50s. So yeah, I can't wait to read that. So the next book, I actually heard, again, I've heard all of these books from booktubers. Pretty much these books have been booktubers that I've heard people talk about, but this one is called Monday's Not Coming by Tiffany D. Jackson. And this just seems just really intriguing. Like, I just imagine it's gonna be a grasping book, but it's about a female character named Claudia, and it's the first day back to school and her best friend did not show up. Her best friend is named Monday Charles, and she didn't show up, and but nobody else seems to be worried. The second day nobody's worried. The second week nobody's worried. She can't get an answer by anybody of what's going on, and somehow it just, you know, and they're, by the way, they're teenagers, so like it just raises the question, how does a teenage girl just go missing without anybody noticing? Even Monday's mother is like refusing to give Claudia like an answer of what's going on. So I feel like it's not going to be like any like fantasy thing going on. I feel like it's going to be like some home life, maybe some type of issue with Monday, and it's just gonna, I feel like this is going to be a really good story, of a coming to age story. So I'm just very interested in reading this book. So this book is Akata Witch. I'm not going to butcher the author's name. I'd rather just not say it if I can't say it. So but this is sounds like another interesting fantasy school setting, kid magical system book. It has raving reviews, so I'm interested. I like books that have African settings as well, African or African American or anything of my similar culture. I like reading those books, so I like that it is a magical fantasy book in that type of setting. So I'm interested to seeing how great it is. Well, amazing it is, as a lot of people have said. So yeah. So I have a lot of fantasy books on here. I don't know how that happened. I think my favorite genre might be fantasy. It'll probably be up there in the top. But the next one is Brandon Sanderson's The Way of Kings. I hear it is a honker. I know it's a honker of a book, honker of a series, or just all of his books is just crazy ridiculous. But I don't know too much about it. I just know that it is a fantasy series and people have raved about it. And they pretty much raved. I also just want to also read a Brandon Sanderson book because people raved about him as well. So why not start out with this one? Or maybe I'll start off with this one, or I might start off with the young adult one that he put out, because that's where like I like my not reading level, because I read adult books, but I typically gravitate towards young adult books. I mean, I'm still a young adult, so but maybe I might show that book here too. Maybe I'll start off with that Brandon Sanderson book instead of The Way of Kings, but you get the point. Really, I kind of just want to read the author because I've heard so many great things about his writing style and his world building. So the next book is Vicious by V.E. Schwab. Really, I also want to get into her books. I haven't read any, but this one I just gravitate towards more, that I really want to read. Like, I just like the idea of the book being about villains. I've always been kind of fascinated with the anti-heroes, so yeah, I'm interested in reading that. I mean, so yeah, but it's basically about two villains who used to be best friends and now they're arch enemies, and they basically figured out a way to create powers, inhuman powers, and yeah, one's on the quest of making sure he's the only one that has powers. The other one is hunting the other one down. It just sounds like it's a good book, and it's a different type of it's not hero versus villain, it's kind of villain versus villain. So I'm interested into getting into that. Next book I want to read is this book, Nas for Atu, by Joe Hill. I just want a good scary book, and for some reason the idea of a scary book during Christmas time seems really cool. Like, I really want to read this the month of December, or like the week before Christmas time, because basically it's about a supernatural like villain, vampire, something like that, that is in like this red like truck, kind of, not truck, red like Cadillac, and he takes children to Christmas land, and this isn't the Christmas land that we hope for, okay? So I don't know why that seems very interesting. I definitely want to get scared. I did try reading it, and it was, again, kind of a slow burn. Remember, Joe Hill is Stephen King's son, I believe. So they must love a slow burn. So I don't know. Hopefully in December I'll be in the mood for it. If not, I definitely want to get to it because it sounds like it's going to be a good book. But Christmas, you got to read in Christmas because it's in a Christmas setting. This one is Between the World and Me by Todd Nahasi Coates. I don't know, this is just one of like the top reads of African American writer, reader books, or whatever that you should read, and a lot of successful people talk about this book, and I don't know, I'm just interested in reading something about just African American life in general, and this person's perspective. I can't really remember what it's about. I just know it's just one of the top, not top books, but a highly recommended read. And I just know they've blurbed it in like TV shows and movies and stuff like that. You'll always see like a, like in one of those movies that has this mainly like African American, they'll put like, or like for instance like Luke Cage, that show on Netflix, like he was reading this book in particular. So I kind of just want to see what it's all about and why people are so inspired by it. So yeah, so those are the amazing books that I would like to read. I would just say in this year in general, but just period. And I have so many. I have probably over like 100 books in my freaking want to read. I have 397 books on my Goodreads. That's a lot of freaking books. I gotta get this freaking reading. Why am I still filming this video? So yeah, thank you so much for watching, and stay tuned for all my little interesting thoughts about books. All right, thank you. See you later. Bye. Toodaloo. You're still on the video. You must still want to see me, so how about you click another one?